Hi, I'm Amanda with Oakland County Parks and Recreation's Nature Education Team. Today, I'll be presenting your That's a Wrap virtual instruction. You will also be hearing from Mr. Benjamin, who is one of my coworkers, and most of what you'll be seeing of us will be my hands as we go through this process. Now that you have your kit in front of you, you are the proud owner of a bag of garbage. We're going to be using these things that are common household items to wrap holiday gifts. But remember, these things are common items, so you can use them all year round to wrap any presents that you may decide to give people. I'm going to try to fit everything in my document camera here. So I'm using a lunch bag, and you, of course, have a full-size grocery bag. And so this is a pretty basic version of wrapping paper. You're just going to want to cut down one of the seams.
We have to do it on.
And when you get to the bottom, to get the most paper out of it, you can kind of lift the little flap at the bottom.
You know, that looks an awful lot like my lunch that I brought today. Did you take my lunch?
Repurposing it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough. Wondering why I was so hungry.
Then you end up your flat brown paper. And this you can use, and the decorating part is totally up to you. You can use markers and draw things, or crayons if you have stamps and ink pads, you can decorate with those. Or if you go a little bit further in depth, you can bring out the paint. And really go
That's
crazy.
a nice snowflake.
And so one of the suggestions that I had for your sheet that I wasn't able to include in your kit was to go out for a hike and see if you could find anything just laying around that might be fun decorative elements. So something like maybe some greenery. If you have a live or a formerly live Christmas tree, some cedar, you might use some parts of like that. Even something like a little twig. Had some windy days, you can use some of that. And sometimes with seed heads, you can find, this one's a sweet gum one. And what I'm just gonna do is dip that in some of my paint, see if I can make some designs there.
Nice.
So remember, we can always find our very own stamps and decorative elements in nature as well.
This way.
Sometimes it works out pretty cool, sometimes it doesn't.
Looks like it partially is a matter of how much paint you have.
Yeah.
Very cool concept, though. Always being on the lookout for something, you know, new and creative to decorate with.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to disguise some of our things. What could be harder to disguise than a toy dinosaur, right? So there are in your bags, there's two different cereal boxes, or snack box and cereal box. And so for this one of them will have holes on the top. That one's going to be saved for something else. But if you have a box in there that does not have the holes pre-punched in it, that's something that you can always use, and you can use a portion of it to help disguise some of the lines of your horrible dinosaur. And this is where you can just kind of wrap him up a little bit. So what we're doing here is just kind of checking out and trying some things, and trying to wrap up the dinosaur a little bit with something with structure, so that we can keep people from guessing that it's a dinosaur. You will notice that I am using masking tape, even though this particular masking tape is a little more difficult to use. It's a little aged, I think. Because that's just another sustainability thing. Scotch tape is plastic, and so if we put that on our paper and then we try to recycle it when we're done, then we can contaminate the entire bunch of paper recycling. So by using masking tape, which is a paper-based tape, that makes sure that we can in fact recycle the paper when we're done. And there's quite a bit of tape involved on the back side of my package here. I don't mind using a little bit of tape. I can always cover that up later with some scraps of ribbon or something like that, any of my decorative pieces. And you can use the tape itself as decoration. There's nothing saying that you can't make a pattern or a design out of your tape. Now, would you ever guess that that was a dinosaur? And now we're going to use kind of the same concept with more of Benjamin's lunch. Benjamin had some delicious goldfish crackers. They're very tasty. And so they come in these little bags. And what this is actually perfect for, he also had some jumbo corn pop snacks here. And so what these are perfect for is actually, it's a great size for gift cards. So what we do for these is if you gently, these are pre-washed. I'm not giving you guys any snack crumbs. So if you gently turn them inside out by pressing on the bottom, sometimes if you try to pull from the top, they'll rip. But if you press from the bottom to turn them inside out, you make them already into a lovely little gift bag.
Nice.
Right. And in this way, again, this is not something that we could really recycle afterward. It does end up in the landfill, but it gives it one extra use at least. And then we just tuck in our gift card. Maybe you have, here, I'm gonna give Benjamin a Qdoba gift card so I can pay him back for taking his lunch yesterday. And we are naturalists, so I'll put a little compass in there for him too.
Oh, that way I can find Qdoba. Nice.
And just kind of fold over and tuck that in. You can tape it shut, or also when we get more of the tying or decorating the wrapped gifts, you can just use a little bit of ribbon. You could use yarn, you could use the lace, basically everything in your kit that is one of the cloth items, I guess you would say, that's kind of skinny. You could use the scrap of cloth. Any of those you can use to just kind of tie that shut, make a pretty bow, or even a cool knot is pretty neat. A little rustic. Or if you didn't make it and your bag was weak and it ripped, you can still always just pull it the rest of the way. And then just use it like you would normal gift wrap. Make it really hard for him to get into.
Right.
That's a pretty cool way to reuse them.
Right. And it's got that nice shiny look to it. So in your kit, you should have 2 sheets of square paper. And this one is for an origami gift box. So with this size paper, it's going to turn out about this size. And what I like about this one is if you hand it to someone, they don't automatically know how to open it.
Right.
Right, Benjamin?
Yeah, she tested that one out on me. It took me a minute or two.
And the other fun thing is if you have a paper clip, what you can actually do is write on there who it's to and use the paper clip to hang that up on your tree or by your fireplace, mantle, wherever your stockings are hung. And just kind of hang that up and make it more of a decoration as well as your gift box.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. You could tell someone to, go look at the tree. Your gift is hanging in the tree or in the tree. And see how long it takes them to figure it out.
So in order to do this, what we're going to do is the same thing twice. First, we are going to find the center of our paper by folding it in half diagonally each side, and then just get all of the corners stuck in the middle.
And you said you're just using regular construction paper for this?
I am. It just has to be cut to very nearly square. And again, we do have the scissors if I was a little off when we did that. I think I might need to trim just a tad. Then we make, looks kind of like an envelope. Then we flip it over and do the same thing again.
Oh.
There's your little open envelope, then you close it. And then you flip it over and do the same thing again.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little repetitious. Then we flip it over and don't do the same thing again. This time, what we do is open.
Oh, interesting.
Triangles on the bottom. And so this, just as an aside, when you have it at this point, this is the origami samurai. So that's his face. And he's wearing a kimono. And then you have to open his face up. Right. And then you start all over again. We used to call this in kindergarten kissing the corners.
Oh, okay. I think.
See, I don't know what I had for breakfast, but I remember what we called this in paper folding in kindergarten. Got our 4 triangles all meeting in the middle. Flip it over. Make it look like an envelope again. Over. One more time. Right. Now it looks kind of like a cootie catcher that's got some extra lines on it. We just
Right.
open these up. Make our samurai. Then smush his face a little bit. We turn this over and we kind of fold these rectangles up. And both of these.
Trying to get a good crease in there.
A crease, yeah. And this may be the time when you want to think about what you're putting in it too. So now we're just going to fold these and kind of smush them into one another. They are going to be very close to the same size, but the good news is you can just fold the paper because it's paper and get them to set inside one another. Then you put your little rubber snake inside, because what else would you put in here? And this works with any square paper. So if you wanted to have a 20 by 20 sheet of paper and start folding it, you could definitely end up with something larger.
Wow.
This was just big enough to demonstrate with. It's small enough not to get away from us.
Gotcha. Yeah, is there a preferred paper outside of construction paper to use, like, or just whatever you can really get?
Really use any kind. I used construction paper because it was a little bit larger sheets than the white copy paper, and I could get 2 sheets out of 1 sheet when I cut it square and still get a decent size. I also like it a little bit stiffer personally, so it makes it kind of fun. But like I said, even this one I made out of some little miniature sized Hershey's crackle bars. So I was taking the sustainability to a whole new level there.
Wow.
You can do it any size that you want. Really, you can, like, this is just foil candy wrappers. So it's all about using your imagination and having the patience to work with tiny things. Our t-shirt sleeve bag. So what we have here is inside your sleeve should be a pre-threaded needle. And so you have multiple ways you can use this t-shirt sleeve. You can either make it into a bag if you would like to do a quick little stitch session. And so you would just take this and sew across the bottom. The bottom would be this end that does not have the the hem line on it, I guess you would say. If you weren't interested in doing 5 minutes of sewing, you could always just slice your t-shirt sleeve and use the cloth the same way you would wrapping paper, and just bundle your gift inside and use some of the ribbon and things to tie it. But I happen to think that the t-shirt sleeve bags are kind of cute. So that's kind of my go-to. So what I do is just kind of,
Well, I've definitely got a lot of T-shirts at home, so I think I know what everyone's going to be getting their Christmas gifts in this year.
Oh,
and when you get to this point where there's kind of a flap, you just want to make sure that you get all of the layers in, so you don't end up with a hole in the bottom of your bag.
right.
Gotcha.
It kind of defeats the purpose when your gift falls right through the bottom. So you can just continue sewing, but then you get your yarn out. So this is a piece of t-shirt yarn that has a safety pin in it, and that's our drawstring. But if you'd like, you can use the ribbon or the lace scrap for your drawstring as well and make it your own. I kind of like the t-shirt yarn and the t-shirt sleeve together, but that's just me. And what you do is just push that safety pin into the hole of the seam there, and just kind of work the safety pin through and keep pushing the excess fabric until you have it fed all the way through, and then turn your sleeve inside in, and you can put your gifts inside, and you can just tie it in a bow. You can wrap it around a couple of times. You can kind of weave the ends, maybe even braid it, and just make it look how you want to. Our next mission is going to be our cereal box gift bag. So this is the one that has the holes in the top. I think your kits still have some flaps on the top as well that you're welcome to cut off at this point. And so what we do here is kind of run your finger through the seam to separate the cereal box sides.
Mhm.
Voila. Then you have a lovely tannish shade. And what you can do now is flip it inside out. And you'll remove the tabs on the sides at the bottom, but keep the large ones on there. And this is when you can decorate again, whichever way you choose: crayon, marker, paint, nail polish. If you've got old stuff you want to get rid of, anything that you can think of that you want to use to just add some pizzazz, you can go to town. So all of these things too, decorating, it doesn't really matter. You can always decorate it after you've got the whole thing together. So this is when our glue comes in handy. So now that we've taken our box apart, what we're going to do is glue it back together, but inside out. So down on the bottom flap, I did test this glue before I started the meeting. Here we go. Just one line down.
Just tacky glue.
And depending on what glue you use, it could take a minute for it to appropriately dry. So the other thing that we're going to do is kind of fold the sides in half. So you can fold these kind of accordion style so they fold in. And then you're also going to glue this side back. And while you wait for that to dry, you can use, again, any of the ribbon or lace scraps, or if you didn't use the t-shirt yarn before, if you have yarn at your house that you want to use up, anything that's kind of long and stringy. If you wanted to, you can even use the cloth strips. But you want two that are about the same size. I'm kind of drawn to the ribbon myself. And we'll put these through. Just kind of double knot. And also this is one where I do think about decorating while I'm still in the process of making, because sometimes if you want, you can put a little button or something like that on your ribbon while you're making the handle to your bag. And a little festive touch. And if it gives you trouble, you can just take your scissors and cut the end of the ribbon so that it's at an angle, and that makes it a little easier to thread through a small buttonhole. And so we'll just push our ribbon through each of the holes and give it a good double knot on the inside there. Now what you can do, you can either go just through the top layer and have a traditional gift bag look to it, or you can go through both layers at the same time. And if you go through both layers at the same time from either direction, your bag will be self-closing. All you have to do is pull the two handles tight and the bag will be closed at the top. And there we have our gift bag made out of a cereal wax. Our paper towel roll. So this guy, try to clean up a little while I go. This is great if you have something that's kind of long and skinny that you want to wrap. Like a Sharpie, I don't know. So what you would do is kind of measure out about one of these little rings. I'd say that's probably about an inch from the top of your object, and then from the bottom. And you can just cut off the excess if you'd like. If it's larger than your gift, then that doesn't really make a difference either. It's all about what you want. And then you would just kind of press on either side. Or just overlap one another like this, and you've got a nice little pillow box. And this one is in particular one that I think looks really cool if you wrap the scrap of cloth. And just do a cool knot. Little flaps on the ends.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. It's very cool.
Yeah, very simple and straightforward.
That's the easiest one.
And of course, once again,
Right?
it's got a nice, look, it's already a striped background. Yeah, so
Right.
if you like stripes, that's cool. If you want to decorate it more, it's totally up to you. If you want to use anything you got, you can. One of the things that I didn't manage to put in your kits, but it's a pretty simple idea, is if you look in magazines and you can get, or even, what's this? An Oakland County Parks Fall 2019 shirt with animal pictures in it. You can cut out a picture of a turkey, or in this case, a snow owl, and just put a little bit of glue stick on the back of it, or a little bit of glue on the back, and you can just kind of decorate it that way. And you're not using any new pieces, you're just making use of what you already have in your house. I'm sure you already have
I
a
don't know if I
house, right?
like the way that owl was looking at that hair.
Put the bumblebee in there to liven it up. We'll make them a little cuter and give them a little daisy lace collar. There you go. Nice
Oh,
look.
that's adorable.
And you can go back to your little origami box if you want and be like, oh, look, here's a cute little mouse. I saved the best for last. So this one, if you do want to decorate this, I would definitely use Sharpies. Are what's going to work on this type of plastic. And so what we have here, and the idea behind this whole kit is that these are things that you would have in your own house, and that you can make multiple times. Once you've seen this this presentation and you've gone through it, then you are more than welcome to have at it, collect your own paper towel rolls, or you know, make all of your t-shirts into muscle shirts and go to town. So this one, I will say, if you want to make this again with your own gallon jug from home, we used only water jugs because you really have to scrub a milk jug to get it to not be stinky. So these are from distilled water mostly. Some of them may be from spring water, but most of them are distilled water from carnivorous plants. So that's just an aside. So if this is something that you're interested in doing with some of your own milk jugs or something like that, I would suggest that you not use this as a, you not put the item in that you're wrapping right now, and you can use this as a template, because figuring out the length is a little tricky, but I did that part for you. But you can definitely decorate it and get it ready to that point. So what you're gonna do first and foremost is you're gonna get your glue out again. Oh man, should have been shaking this thing for a while. And then in your kit, you should have a large button. And if you still have, if you have just a little tiny bit of your string left over on your needle particularly, and then you can just use that thread or string to thread your button pretty simply, and just not the thread at the end. It doesn't take very much. You don't want a whole bunch of thread left over. And then we'll just double knot that, and we will go back to our needle and press that and make a couple of small holes in the center of your milk jug. So we're just gonna take our needle and make some small holes in the center there, and then thread our button strings through that. And then this is a particularly good one if you have the glue gun. And then what you'll do is you'll just, once you've threaded the thread through those holes in your jug, then you can just add some glue at the back side to glue those threads into place. See, I didn't want to plug in a glue gun because I knew that I would end up burning myself and just running out of glue. Ridiculous.
Well, that's a given whenever glue guns are being used, for sure.
So also in here, you should have a rubber band that has a little knot on it. You're gonna put that through so that the knot stops at the end of your hole on the top.
Gotcha.
And once this is dry, it becomes a little gift box. And it can also be, when it's not working as a gift box, it's also a great way to carry your peanut butter and jelly. If we go back to how I stole Benjamin's lunch yesterday, it would be a great way to keep your sandwich from getting smushed in your brown paper bag, Benjamin.
Yeah, smart.
It won't do anything about theft, but it would definitely keep it.
I'm just not putting it in the fridge anymore now that I know where it's going. Just thread a rubber band through. If your rubber band is not staying, you might need to put a second knot down there. And then Yeah, very nice.
and that's just
Cute.
tied on. So not bad.
Not bad.
Nice.
Gift is only good until September 30th, but you know.
That's right. Giving expired gifts out. But that'll help you, Benjamin. That'll keep people from stealing your lunch because they'll think it's already expired.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So then when we get back down to some of our decorative elements, we do in our kit have some extra buttons and some cinnamon sticks and pine cones, and whatever other types of ribbon or lace you didn't use and other things, strips of cloth. These are old blue jeans that you can use just to tie things on your different gifts and make them look pretty.
That sounds like a good excuse to go for a walk outside and collect some natural items for sure.
Absolutely. You can add some of, if you didn't dye it all different colors, you can just put a little sprig of pine in there. And again, sometimes just the little twigs, you can help that to make a cool little weaving along the top and really frustrate the person you're giving the gift to. You can even use your little safety pin to safety pin a button on. If you get a cool enough button, then it's kind of like a little brooch. Little extra gift. So, I mean, when you're thinking of natural items to use, don't be afraid to go in your spice cabinet, you know?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Let's go back to the, kind of wrap that around. You can make it not just look pretty, but smell pretty too.
Nice.
And I mixed a lot of themes on here. A little busy. I mean, you don't have to rely on tape for everything either. A lot of these things you can use to just kind of to tie things onto your present. Thanks for joining us today for your That's a Wrap virtual instruction. Unfortunately, it's time to wrap up our program for today, but don't worry because we have lots of cool in-person and virtual programs that are coming up.